Good morning, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Friday Live and the 6th day of the 12 Days of Christmas series. I'm just gonna log into my iPad here. So be sure to say hi when you join in so I know who's watching. And I guess I should introduce myself as well in case there's anybody new watching. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sherwood Park, Alberta. And every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I go live on Facebook and do a crafting video. Sometimes it's cards, sometimes it's 3D, sometimes it's scrapbooking. Today we're going to scrapbook. Good morning, Shara. How are you feeling, Shara? Okay, so the first thing that I do every week is I draw for the previous week's project. Unless it's a scrapbook page or a 3D project, then sometimes I replace that project with something else, something that's a little bit easier to mail. So last week, I created this fun fold project. So you can always watch the replay on my Facebook page, which is Stamped Treasures, or on my YouTube channel, or on my blog. All right, so the way that you get entered is you get one entry for every comment that you make during, whether it's live or the replay for the week leading up to the next week. And if you share the video, you get 5 entries. So I've got everybody's name in here, and the lucky winner is Betty. I believe it's Betty Domes. All right. So I will contact her and get her information. Set that aside. All right, who have we got here? Good morning, Barb. Good morning, Amy. Welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. Only a few more Fridays before Christmas. How's everybody feeling? Anybody stressed out yet? I'm feeling pretty good. I still have a few more things to do, but I plan on getting a chunk of that done next week. I've got my team Christmas party tomorrow, which is going to be super fun. Hey, Kristen. You're enjoying the 12 days of Christmas? Good. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. So there's quite a bit that still needs to be done for that. We have our meeting first in the morning, and then we move upstairs and we do a potluck. So it's always lots of fun. But I haven't planned any of the projects for tomorrow yet, so I got a busy afternoon. But anyways, we are here to scrapbook. So I'm gonna flip my camera around and we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Oh, that's not the right one. I had a nice view of my ceiling there. Okay. So I've got the camera a little higher than normal just because it's a scrapbook page. So I need a little bit more room, and I want you to be able to see the whole canvas, or the whole 12 by 12. So I'm hoping that this will be okay. Just give it a second to catch up. Okay. All right. Okay. So I wanted you guys to see what, okay, let's just see. Okay, that looks okay. All right, I wanted to see what I'm starting with. So I know what photo I'm going to use, so I'm going to use this photo. I love Ray Dunn, and we pulled out our Christmas stuff, set up our Christmas tree the other day. And when we do that, we always have hot chocolate. So this is a photo of my cup in front of our tree. So I wanted to scrapbook that, and I picked out a sketch. So I just quickly looked online at some sketches this morning. It didn't print out very well, but maybe in my blog post I'll link to the sketch so that you guys can get a better picture of it. But it kind of gives you an idea, and it's a square, but this obviously looks, I think it was too big for the 8.5 by 11. So anyways, this is kind of my idea, my starting point. And then I went through some of my products and picked out kind of what I wanted to use. So the first thing that I started with was I looked at my photos, and obviously there's red and green in there. And I have not used this DSP enough. So this is the 12, what is it called, 12 Tidings Designer Series paper. And I am a huge lover of plaid. I love, love, love plaid. And because it's all red and green, I thought it would be perfect. And because this has Ray Dunn in it, which is something that I really love, and then it's got the plaid in the paper, I thought that combining those two things would be really good. So I pulled out that paper pack to work with. And then this is a vanilla base. So I pulled out the base of my layout will be a 12 by 12. Okay, let me catch up on the comments here. Let's see here. Shauna says she loves the photo and the layout. Barb says she's stressed out because she's got Christmas and hosting and packing for a trip. Yeah, focus on one thing at a time. What comes first? Get that one done first and then worry about the rest. Amy asked how I printed a square photo. You know what? I edit my photos on my phone before I print them. So this one I think I actually took a square photo. Like, you know, if you have an iPhone, you can change it so that it takes a square photo. So this particular one I believed I took as a square photo. But when you edit it, when you can crop it down to a square, and then I print from home. I use an Epson PM300 printer, and I print from home. And I just printed it on that. It printed square because I chose to not have it fill the frame. So you have an option of printing various sizes, and I chose not to fill the frame. Otherwise it would distort it and make it rectangular, even though it wasn't taken as a rectangular photo. So I don't know if that helps or not, but that's kind of what I did. Good morning, Mary Liz. Okay, so the rest of the products that I did, okay, because again, I looked back at the photo and you could kind of see like hints of gold in the background. So I pulled out some gold foil and some gold glimmer paper. I don't know if I'll use either, or maybe I'll use both. I have no idea, but I pulled it out. I also pulled out scraps, and just a few scraps. My scraps are handy enough that I can grab some more if I need them, of the garden green and real red, which are the two colors that are in the patterned paper. And then I have these little boxes. Let me move this stuff out of the way here. I have these fun little boxes that I got I picked up one at HomeSense, and then my mom got me two other ones. There's the one smaller than this one as well. And these are my go-to boxes when I scrapbook, because in this box, I keep all of my leftover stickers. So these can be from leftover Project Life kits. There's some really old kits, like some of you might recognize this was from a kit from years ago. I've got like little things. I was part of a planner kit a few years ago, so I've got some planner stickers in here. You know, these old Project Life. I keep all of those in here, and basically when I go to scrapbook, when I've decided on my colors, I go through this box and I pull out anything that I think might coordinate. So basically I went through and I pulled out anything that was red, garden green, or gold. And I didn't really have a whole lot that was red or garden green. So, and then I pulled out, I love these little words. So I pulled those out as well. And again, I don't know if I'm going to use these or not, but I pulled them out so that I'd have access to them. And then in this box, I keep all of the extra, like you'll probably recognize these, all of the extra little pieces from Paper Pumpkin, any die cut pieces that I have left over from previous projects and don't end up using, I just throw them in this box. Like there's a ton of different things. This is from Paper Pumpkin years ago. We used to carry a die, I think we used to carry a die that cut this out years and years and years ago. Like this is so old, but I'm not gonna throw it away because I might be able to use it on something at some point, right? So like there's just a bunch of things. And sometimes I like keep tags from things. Like I thought this was really pretty. It was on I think it was a sweater that I bought, and I just thought it was really pretty. Sometimes those work out perfect for little embellishments on a scrapbook page, right? So this is kind of like my little junk bin. So there's a little bit of everything in here. Oh, it looks like there's a sticker in there as well, which that should probably go in this one. So yeah, so that kind of gives you an idea of how I have things organized and the process of it. So I went through that little box of die cuts and I didn't find much. I found this corrugated circle that was real red. I found 'Tis the Season. I found a couple die cut garden green leaves that I pulled out. This was a cardinal from the last paper pumpkin kit. It's Poppy Parade, it's not real red, but I pulled it out because I might still use it. And then I found this isn't, I don't know where this came from. It might have been from one of my planner kits, but it's a cute little bow. And I thought, well, that might work. So I pulled that out. Again, I have no idea what I'm gonna use. I may use some of it, I may use all of it, I may use none of it. And then the other thing that I did was I pulled out the coordinating embellishments to this DSP as well, okay? So that's kind of how I set things up when I scrapbook. I also pulled this out. I don't know if I'll use it. It's, oh, it's stitched. It's hard to tell from this side. This was the Celebration butterfly paper from last year. And, oh, it's from a birthday paper pumpkin kit. Thank you, Amy. I didn't remember that. I love, of course, it's plaid, so black and white plaid, I love it. And even though it's a white core base, I still pulled it out because I might use it as a little tuck-in. So, okay, so anything that kind of appealed to me, I kind of pulled out. All right, so we're gonna pull out this piece first. I do wanna do a fun little background that I've really been enjoying doing. I wanted to share it with you guys today. So you can see, let me pull back the sketch here. So you can see that there's kind of some splatters and stuff around the focal point, the photo. So I'm gonna show you a way that I create that look. And there's lots of different things that you can do. We're gonna do a mixture of some messy stuff and then we're gonna do some stamping as well. Okay, let's see here. Shauna says she needs to get an iPhone. Samsung doesn't let her do much. Well, London Drugs, if you can edit your photos before you send them to London Drugs, they should be able to print for you. I love London Drugs. When I'm mass producing, like when I'm printing lots, that's my go-to place is London Drugs. I really, really like them. Shauna also likes my organizing bits and pieces, or my organization for my bits and pieces. Andrew can't watch. Does he have a job interview or he just got a job? How did you decide on red and green? Just because of Christmas? Not just because of Christmas. I mean, that would be an easy pick, but the Believe is in red on the mug and then the green on the tree. And then I haven't used much of this pattern paper, so that's why, that's another reason why. Because we have lots of red and green paper that I could have chosen, but I mentioned at the beginning, you might not have heard, but I love plaid. So as soon as I saw the plaid pattern, I just knew that I had to use it. Oh, he got a job at Earl's. Awesome. Well, that's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Otherwise, I can sit here and talk all day. Now, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I've got this piece of, this is just one of our 6x8 cello bags, and you don't have to use a cello bag. You can use whatever you have on hand. If you have an old piece of a window sheet or an old transparency or even packaging from embellishments, like if you wanted to use the packaging from this, you can use this as well. You just need something plasticky. Okay, so I am going to take my garden green ink pad, and let's do it on here so that you guys can see. So I'm just gonna rub a bit of ink on there. My ink pad is not very juicy. It actually needs to be re-inked, and I considered re-inking it before I did this today, but then I thought, you know what? I don't want this background to be too dark, so I'm going to leave it as is. Now I've got one of our Stampin' Spritzers. Good morning, Kim. And it's just filled with water. So now I'm going to spritz this cello bag, just like that. I'll pull my background piece in. I'll I'll make sure that you guys can see it. Get my picture out of the way so I don't splatter on there. Actually, I'm gonna spray this just a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to flick it. Okay, so that gives me a few little splatters. So let me bring it a little closer so you can see. So that gives me a few splatters. You can see that some are bigger, which isn't a problem, and then you get some smaller ones in there as well. But then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take that and I'm gonna set it down and I'm going to rub. Then I'm going to pick it up, move it over, set it down and rub. And I'm kind of using the same kind of, doing it in the same kind of area that the sketch did it, okay? So there we go. We've got this cool little background. And most of it will get covered over with our photo that will go right there. I'm hoping that I did it far enough out. Let's maybe just get the rest off here. A little trick when you do this, do not use your fingernail when you rub it. Make sure that you're using either the palm of your hand or the balls of your fingertips, because otherwise, I used my fingernail the first time I did it and I ended up with lines through it. So you don't want to use your fingernail. All right, so that's a quick and easy way to get that kind of fun little background. But we're gonna do more to that. I just have to set it aside to dry, okay? So we're gonna work on something else while that's drying. And then this cello bag, you can just, well, I've pretty much used it all. It doesn't even really, nothing needs to be done with it. But you can just give it a wipe with a baby wipe and you can reuse it. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to mat our photo. So if I pull in the sketch, let's leave the sketch over here so you guys can see it. It's got several layers of, move my water, of cardstock, patterned papers, just a bunch of different layers. So we're gonna work on that. Okay, so I've got this. And this paper is great because it's the same pattern on both sides, but you can choose between green or red. And that's a bit more muted. That makes it pop. I think I like the green better right underneath the photo. Let's see. And then there is a longer strip here. Now I'll probably trim that down a little bit. I'm just basically figuring out my layers for now. Could do something like that. And then definitely want to use some of this plaid in here. That's too much green. That's almost too much red. I might have to throw in a solid piece of cardstock in there. Let's see, where's my cardstock? Let's see. So it's just basically fussing around and trying to figure out. Okay, I think I do need to trim this down because this is throwing me off it being so big. So I'm just going to use a bit of adhesive. I like to just put adhesive in the center until I know for sure that I'm not going to tuck anything in, and then I can always go back and add more adhesive if I want to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, another thing that I've picked up is you can use your ruler and tear, and it just gives you some added texture. Like it's straight because you're using a ruler, but it just gives you a bit of added texture to it. So I'm gonna do that, pull in my paper cutter and trim this down so that it's about even with the rest, the other two sides. So it looks like it's about there. And I'm not too concerned with it being perfect. I'll save that. I'll leave that here because I'm gonna use it. Again, this I might save because it might work as a little accent up at the top or at the bottom. There is no red on the mug handle, but there is a candy cane in the mug. Okay, so now let's pull back. Let's try that. I need a bigger piece of... Oh, and you know what? I said I was going to use the green, and I ended up putting the red in behind. Oh. Oh well, we'll make it work. Okay, a bigger piece of red here. Okay, let's do maybe a 3-inch strip of this. Tuck this in behind. No, I really want that to be green. I'm peeling it up. Hopefully I can do that without wrecking my photo. Not too concerned with the patterned paper because it'll be covered over anyways. Okay, let's flip this over. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'll just center that on either side and make sure that it's about an even distance from the top as the two sides. I still have that torn edge down at the bottom. Okay. And let's see. So we've got that. Finding that still a bit busy. Maybe I need another layer of vanilla in there. See, sometimes I'll grab scraps like this from my drawer. If I know that it's just the edge that's going to show, I'm not too concerned. Oh, that's better. I'm not too concerned and I can put it to good use, right? Okay, so how big do I want this? Let's have a look at the sketch here. I don't have any scraps of this. I think what I'll do is I'll cut it about 4 inches because I don't want it to go all the way around. So you can see that I'm not, when I'm layering my photo, I'm not necessarily having all even mats all the way around. Some of my mats might be all the way around the photo, but some of them will just be on 3 sides, and some of them might end up on actually 2 sides. Okay, do I want to do that, or do I want to have that red in between that vanilla? Nope, it's got to be underneath the vanilla. Okay, so I can commit to the vanilla. So let's add a little bit of adhesive here. And do it about like that. And then, so this red cardstock is kind of, it's replacing this patterned paper cardstock, or patterned paper here. And then this will go, or do I want it to go like this? Or do I want it to be green? Let's try the green. Okay, do I want to do that? Okay, what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer the green like that? Or we could do, that's too much green, then there's no red. Or we could do red with green plaid, or red with red plaid. So red cardstock, red plaid, red cardstock, green plaid, green cardstock with red plaid, or green cardstock with green plaid. I think the green cardstock with green plaid is out because that's too much green. We do need to pull in some red. Red with green plaid. Red with green plaid. Red with red plaid. Okay, we need a, let's see. Oh, I've got gold that I could throw in here. I forgot about the gold. Let's see if I've got a scrap of gold that we could throw in here. Throw in a scrap of gold in there. Red with red plaid. Okay, we've got a few with red with red. Red with green plaid. It's so torn. Or do I want to throw the gold in between? Oh man, sometimes this can take forever, just the layering. I think sometimes I just overthink it though. I need a longer piece of gold. Just going to cut maybe 1.5 inches. No, that's not going to be long enough. Let's do it this way. I just want a touch of gold showing. I don't necessarily need a lot of it. I have a feeling this is going to be a long video. Okay, so if I did just that touch of gold there, and do I want it on the red? Or do I want it on the green? Because we've got, remember, we've got the green background too, right? I feel like some of this needs to move over on this side. Otherwise it's going to be heavy towards the middle of the layout. So we've got the green background. I think I do like the red. Yeah, I think I want to pull in the red. And I think I'll put the gold in between. Just a thin, thin, thin little border of gold. I think that's the ticket. Okay, so now let's stick these down and I'll figure out if I need to trim anything. So I want about an even border. Yeah, I agree. I think the red makes the picture pop a little bit more. Okay, so I just trimmed that so that it was an even border, or relatively even around the edges. Now I'll stick the gold on, and I just want a really thin border of gold. Just like that, and I'll trim that down. And then I want a bigger plaid. So about 2 rows of plaid. And then I am just going to use my scissors and cut this one. That's a bit longer, but that's okay. Okay, so now let's pull in our background. So this is gonna go over here. Probably could have done a little bit more over here. I might actually go in and add a little bit more of that splatter like I did. Because I feel like it needs to, I don't want this too far over. This, because like this was square, there was some space, a wider space on this side. I don't want it to go right over to the edge. I want it to sit about there. And that almost covers the entire splatter that we did. So I'm going to add a little bit more. Now this is gonna be a test because I've never added 2 layers on here. I don't know how the cardstock is going to react to this. So we will figure it out. We'll see how it goes. So I put my red, or sorry, my green. There's a couple squirts. And I do find that if you splatter first, it gets rid of some of the the blobs. Okay. And then I want to add just a little bit right there. Now we're gonna have to let that dry, and I want to stamp on it. Let's see if that's enough. Maybe a little bit more. A little bit more down here. Okay, I think I'm gonna pull in my heat tool just so I can speed this up a little bit because I do want to stamp on it. So just bear with me for a minute so I can plug it in. Okay, so just by looking at this, just so you guys know, you know what, where I ended up doing 2 layers of the water over top of the on top of the cardstock, it is pilling just a little bit. So if you do this, maybe it might be a better idea to do this, work on this layering first so that you can figure out how much and where you need it. Whereas I created this first and I wasn't sure how big my focal point was going to be, and then had to add in some more. But in that area right there, that's gonna be covered over anyway, so I'm not too concerned with it. But just in the future, if you guys want to try that, that's a little suggestion for you. Okay, so now for stamping, I pulled out, I wanted some good images to do kind of like a background. So I pulled out this Christmas countdown stamp set. I really like this one, and I thought this would be really cool too. And then they've got those as well that I could add in, and maybe even some pine bows. I'm not sure I'm going to add that one in or not, but I'll definitely use these 2 and possibly those ones as well. So I'm going to start with the biggest one because I always like to start big and then fill in with some of the smaller images. So I'm just going to figure out where I would put this so that I can figure out where I want to stamp. So I think I want one right about there. Still not fully dry, but it should still be okay. And then I want another one kind of up here. Go in this direction this time. So kind of like that. So I'm going to leave it at 2 with that for now. And then let's pull in those little dots. So I'm not trying to get them straight. I just want there to be several rows of dots. And I'm staggering them so that it doesn't look like I tried to make them straight and they didn't end up straight. Hey Betty, I drew your name for last week's project, so you'll have to message me with your mailing address so I can pop it in the mail for you. Okay. Let's just add just a touch. No, I don't want to add it just there yet. Okay. All right, let's see. Now what do I want to do? Let's see what we've got for embellishments here. Okay. So I explained, for those of you who joined in a little bit late and missed the beginning, I explained kind of my process and how I have things organized. and how I picked my embellishments. So I'm just looking through. I think we can probably stick this down. So again, I'm just going to add adhesive to the center for now. And I can always go back and add a little bit more adhesive once I'm finished embellishing, and that will allow me to add a bunch of tuck-ins if I want. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, and it's definitely gonna need some more adhesive there. Okay, so I'm thinking something gold down here. I also have these ones. I think I like these ones better. I don't want to do it where the torn edge is, but I could maybe do it at the bottom of the photo. Or a scallop. Okay, I might come back to that. Let's see what else. I have this little sparkle, which I thought might be cool to include somewhere. So what I'm gonna do, I know I want to include this sparkle. So I'm just gonna bring over my block and just stick the ones that I know I want to use on the block. I don't know that there's anything else from here that I wanna use. Okay, there's not much left on these ones. I don't want to use the flowers. I could use these. Oh, but remember I had, okay, let's see. We had this circle and we have these green leaves over here. And I had this 'Tis the Season. I thought this would work well as a title. Can't do that with that. This could be tucked underneath here. I could put a green leaf up here to bring in some of that green, and I could add some gold up there as well. The sparkle can maybe go up there. That would add the gold in there. Oh, and I had this gold thread that was left over from a paper pumpkin kit. That might be cool to bring in some gold up there. The title on the sketch is kind of right here. So I'm thinking I'll put it there. But it does need something underneath it. I could repeat that circle, maybe doing a piece of vellum, maybe punched from a piece of vellum. Because I don't want to take away from the background that we created. So I might do that. And then I could pull in a couple of these. I could add some gold twine. Okay, let me grab a piece of, I also have this, no, I don't think I want to bring in a third pattern here, so that one we won't use. So let me grab a piece of vellum. And the largest circle punch that I have. It's 2 1/4, so let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, so now I don't mind that, but I don't love it. So what I'm thinking, I'm wondering if I did a gold scallop underneath that. I think that would work. Or a green circle instead, Beth said. I'm gonna try a gold scallop. Let me think here. I could pull in my Big Shot and my layering circles, so let's have a look at that. Okay, let's see if there's one. Oh, it's significantly bigger. That's more gold than I would like showing. Okay, but I have a solution. Okay, so I will go to my no fail 2-inch circle punch and my starburst. I know, then I'm hiding the background. I know, that's right, Amy. What I said I didn't want to do. But I think I'm gonna put it up a little higher, so I think it might work. But it's all trial and error, so if I don't like it, then I just don't stick it down until I'm committed to it. Oh, I'm not gonna fuss with that. Let's just punch another one. Okay, so I got my 2-inch circle punch and then my starburst. I tell you, I don't know what I would do without these 2 punches. I use these so much. So much. Okay, so we can still see quite a bit of that. This will go over towards the photo as well. I'm not sure I'm gonna add that in there. Maybe that'll go up here. No, or behind this rather than behind the words. Let's try that. I think that looks okay. That looks good. Okay. You don't have those punches, Amy? Oh my gosh, I use those so much. Okay, so let's start committing here. I'm going to stick this down. Here's my adhesive. Pop that under there. Just like that. And add a little bit of those, or a little bit of greenery in here. Just like that. Oh, the other thing I need to remember is I want to add a little bit of journaling. Maybe I'll do my journaling like right up here. Okay, now this, I'm gonna add just a little bit of adhesive right here because then it'll get tucked underneath here and you won't be able to see it. Kathy says she loves those punches too. They're just, I don't know, punches are just so easy and they layer perfectly. And sometimes you don't want, I like that it's a starburst because a starburst can be used for anything. Whereas a scallop circle, sometimes that feels a bit more feminine and I don't necessarily want to use a scallop circle for a more masculine project. Not that this is a masculine project, but I just find the starburst is so versatile. Oh, this needs to go down a little further. There we go. Okay. And then that is gonna go on there. And then these I think are gonna go underneath of the scallop because I didn't like how busy it looked underneath the season. I don't know that I need to add any of this in there, but I do wanna bring some gold. I had this sparkle. So I'm gonna tuck this underneath here so you can just see the word sparkle. Over a little bit further. Just like that. Okay, so we've got our gold there, we've got our gold there, and then we've got a bit of gold under back here. Now remember I had this piece. Now I know in the sketch they don't have anything up there. No, I don't think I want to pull that in. Okay, and then I had these little things. Oh, and I have this bow. I really like this bow. Is the color wrong though? It's more Poppy Parade than it is real red. But I like it. I don't know. Yay to the bow or nay to the bow? The circle punch is 2 inches, Elaine. Thank you, Amy. Okay, I'm gonna grab my Tombow so I can stick my greeting down. Can I pull it out? Nope. Okay, actually before I do that, I should probably add a bit more adhesive behind my photo so that my photo doesn't come up. Okay. No bow, Betty says. Kim says no bow. Okay, I'll save the bow for a different project. I was so excited when I found it. It's cute. Paper pumpkin is the best for little embellishments like that you can keep and use to make scrapbooking easier. Yeah, I could stamp images and die cut them or fussy cut them and add them to my layouts, but this, when you use the pre-cut pieces that you already have, it's just so much faster. Because when it takes you half an hour to figure out your matting layers, like it did me today, that can end up taking a long time if you have to figure out your embellishments as well. Okay. All right, so we've got the 'Tis the Season. Do I want both or just one? I do kind of like how it's full. Maybe I need to move them up here. Let's play around here. No, they do look better over here. Okay. What does the bow look like over the sprigs? Okay, let me stick the sprigs down and then we'll give it a shot. So does anybody have any Christmas parties this weekend? Oh, how did I have this so it looked good? No, it almost looks too full. No, let's cut this so it's a little shorter. Or tear it. How do I store my punches? Amy, I'll take a picture and post it on my page a little bit later. I've got those IKEA picture rails. I think that's what they're called. Picture shelves. And I've got them stored on that. Okay. You've got a Christmas party on Tuesday and Wednesday? That sounds like fun. Okay, so now journaling is gonna go here, which I'll add afterwards. Oh, and Mary Liz wanted to see the bow. Kind of covers up that S. I think because it's a different red, if it was the same red, I think I could get away with using it, but because the 'Tis the Season is in red and it's a different shade, I don't think I can get away with using it. If I was to put a cluster up here, I could probably use it because it's further enough away from the other reds. Okay, so we've got these that I can throw in, and I do have some of these that I could add too. I could add some little gold stars. I don't think I like the circle, but I could get a smaller circle and punch out the stars. They're on almost like a vellum, an adhesive vellum background. Let's see. Yeah, I think they do need to be punched out. Let me grab a smaller circle punch. Let's see if 3/4 of an inch will work. I love to try to use all these little bits and pieces because I don't know, it's so satisfying when you use something up. So I could add one to that cluster, one here, and then let's trim this so I can get at this other one. right, maybe another one over here, and then add some enamel dots. What do you guys, no, that's too much of a line up here. I think so. I like them. What do you guys think? What about the bird? Yes. I think I'm gonna have the same problem with that bird because it's Poppy Parade instead of Real Red. So I don't think I'm gonna use it. I'll have to save it. The Poppy Parade, how about maybe a layout needs to be done with those two because I think they're both the same color. So I might have to set those aside and use those for a different layout. Okay. Mary Liz says, do you ever put them on a clear block so you can, you know what? I don't use a clear block, but let me show you what I do use. Wax paper is great for this, especially titles. If you're not sure on where you're going to position your title. So what you can do is you can use a window sheet as well. I'm just trying to peel this apart here. So I keep wax paper handy. Oh, it's not quite see-through. So then you can just kind of position it where you want. I mean, it doesn't look any different. It doesn't happen to look any different. But usually I will sometimes put that on my title on there and position it, especially if I'm using like die cut letters, or not die cut letters, stickers. I want to overlap that, put it underneath. Does anybody else talk to themselves when they do this? Kind of mumbling to myself. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm like, do I want it underneath? Do I want it further away? Do I want it down here? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try this. Let's try that one there. One down here. I think I want two up here. Just because this has more gold right here. Excuse me. Okay, peel this one apart. I like that enamel dots come on a clear sheet because then you can kind of position them. You can kind of see, although when they're all together, it still makes it a little bit difficult to, oh, now that this is punched out, this is difficult to separate. There we go. Okay, so that guy's gonna go on there like that, and then this guy over here, and then enamel dots, and then I think I'm done. I can add my journaling afterwards, and then I'll share a photo with the journaling on my page so that you guys can see. No, let's do green first. I find these bigger ones, I wish they were a bit smaller. I find these bigger ones hard to work with. I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna push down too hard. I'm gonna see what I think. Let's see. I don't like that that's in a line like that. Maybe like up there. Should they be all three the same color? I did two red ones over there. Do I do two green ones over here, or do I keep the same? What do you think? Yay to the sparkles or nay? What did I miss? Got a phone call. That's funny. People should know better, right? I think I like the sparkles. Keep the same, so you think I should replace one of these with a red one? So replace this one with a red one. This does have more green down here, so I'm thinking a red might be better. That one's too big. Let's use one size smaller. There we go. How's that? Okay, we're gonna stick it down. So just apply a little bit of pressure and, okay, let's see. Are there any words that would work for this? Daily routine, here and now, best day ever, around here, what a day. Nope, I don't think any of those will work. Okay, I think the only other thing that I want to add is I want to add some gold splatter. Because, you know, even though I do have some green splatter in here, I love my gold splatter. So I use something I know that is not Stampin' Up. I use this Heidi Shine, which is, or Color Shine from Heidi Swap. It is not Stampin' Up, obviously. It's actually no longer available. You can use, if you have the gold Delicata ink refill, you can use that with a bit of water and a paintbrush and you can get a similar look. If you have the gold, the Vegas Gold shimmer paint that we used to carry, you can use that and get a similar look, but I don't have either of those. So this is what I'm going to use. And I'm just gonna bring in my little plastic sheet to cover my photo because I don't want to get splatter on my photo. So this is actually a mist bottle, but I never use it as a mist. And I want it to go in this direction. So let's grab our scrap. You do need to shake it quite well. Just gonna put some scraps underneath here. And it's got like a little nozzle. So I'm just going to just tap a little bit and then we will move it over this way. And I'm gonna move this down, but not set it down because I don't want to splatter my, or affect my dots that I just made. Okay, and I'm not gonna go all the way to the corner because I didn't do all the way to the corner with the other ones. Okay, and then the only other thing, I think I might, all of these look pretty much the same size. So I'm going to try to add one that is just a little bit bigger. There we go. I might add a couple bigger ones up here too. Whoa, we got one really big one. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I think it's done. I like it. I like how it turned out. I think the longest part of the whole thing was just figuring out those layers, and I think it was just because there were only 2 colors that I was working with. Had there been more colors than that, I don't think I would have struggled as much. All right, so there's one last thing that I want to mention before we sign off. I'm just going to slide this out of the way. I will post a picture of this later so that you guys can see what it looks like. But I wanted to share this month's class in the mail. It is super cute, and it uses a stamp set from the annual catalog called On to Adventure. We're creating a wine tag and 3 separate cards. And included in the class is, I will post all the information a little bit later, but you get the stamp set, you get a spool of the braided trim, which is this cute little braided trim. It looks like linen thread that's braided. And you get a package of the holiday themed, or the holiday colored rhinestones. And look at this. There's a rhinestone in the center of the camera. There's rhinestones for her earrings. So adorable. So you get 3 different designs for cards and a wine tag. You get 3 of each of the cards. 1 of each of these will be finished for you so that you can use it as a template. And I believe the only ink pad that you need is Memento, and then you need some way to color in your little images as well. Okay, so I will post all that information. The deadline to register for this class is December 13th, which is next Friday, so a week from today. All right, so thanks so much for watching and for bearing with me for this longer Facebook Live than normal. But it is kind of fun to switch things up. I hope you guys have been watching my YouTube series, The 12 Days of Christmas. I don't always, well, I think every day I've posted a link back to the video on here on Facebook. But if for some reason I don't post it, be sure to check my YouTube channel so that you don't miss out. I've got some fun projects planned for the rest of the time. And I don't know if there'll be another scrapbook one, because I find it easier to scrapbook in a live than a YouTube video because I don't edit my videos. So I just think it could go on and on and on, and I don't know how much, like, I don't have anybody to talk to while I'm doing it, so I find it kind of odd. So yeah, so I don't know that there'll be another scrapbooking one, but I will definitely share some more holiday themed layouts with you before the holiday season ends. All right, so thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next Friday.